Hey guys, welcome to the Whitetail Anonymous Podcast number 10. Today I am flying solo. Josh is not with me today, but we have our newest Calculated Killers team member, Steve Caron, on with us today. He is going to talk about, just early season prep, him a little bit, introducing to you guys and, what he's doing this time of year. Again, I want to keep this podcast as seasonal as possible, talk about the steps in deer hunting, what's happening and what all's going on. So, Steve, say hey to everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
Steve, I appreciate you being on. Thank you for being part of the team. You're a vital member to us. Steve's a killer, guys. He's what I dream of being. That's he gets it done every year. He puts his work in, and I'm really impressed with Steve. Me and Josh both were. That's why we hounded him and about begged him to come to us. But he's a good guy. I'm really proud to have him on the team. And, Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. So people who don't know you yet, they will get to know you, but tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm born and raised in southern West Virginia. Hunting's pretty much been in my blood since, I'd say, probably 5 years old, starting out squirrel hunting with my grandpa. And it's just evolved into a passion for whitetail hunting. I love to film my hunts, so that's always been a big part of my hunting obsession.
Hey, that's where I need to get better at. But continue. Tell us a little about your family, Steve.
Yeah, I've been married for, I'm going on 3 years. I got 2 stepdaughters and a daughter of my own. Married to a beautiful wife. My littlest one is 2 years old. The middle one is 9, and the oldest one is 12. Which the 2 oldest ones, they like to hunt with me too, and they've actually got a few on film too. So
cool. I joked with Steve the other day. I said, "Man, you can't get away with nothing with all them women in that house."
No.
I know my little daughter and my wife. It's hard to get away with that with just them 2. I can't imagine 3. So that's funny. But, guys, no further ado, let's jump right into it again. I like to keep this podcast seasonal. Let's talk about what we're doing now. I know, Steve, you're like me. You're big on summertime prep, getting ready for that November rush. And, when you're hunting these deer. Right now, and I'm getting my stands hung, getting my mineral sights going, getting my Spartan trail cameras up and rolling. What are you getting into right now, Steve, in the woods?
It's pretty much the same. Getting the minerals out, getting the camera set up, just trying to find the buck to hunt for in November.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't put the time in now, you ain't gonna have no luck more than likely in November.
Go ahead, Steve. I mean, cut you off. Finish.
That's okay. But yeah, just getting the minerals out, putting the trail cameras up, getting your lanes and stuff cut for your tree stands. I mean, sometimes I don't set my stands till after I get my cameras rolling for a little while, so I can try to pinpoint that certain buck. So I always got these certain spots that I always hunt anyway, so I'll get them set up, and then once I find a buck that I like to hunt, I'll set some new spots.
Gotcha. Now, you talk about cutting lanes. That's a good thing to talk about. Sometimes when I get in a tree, when I get into a tree stand, and I'm either kicking myself because I cut everything out and I'm open as ever, or I'm like, dang it, why didn't I cut that one? I know that deer's gonna walk through there, and they always do. And the inevitability of it, they always walk through where you didn't cut. Do you tend to lean more on cutting too much or not cutting enough, or to find that balance? Where do you land on that deal?
Well, I guess I'm not very conservative on cutting the trees, so I clear a lot, because with filming, it always ends up being that deer is either behind a limb. I mean, you might have a shooting lane, but your camera is blocked, so it's kind of.
So you're part of this. You're like me. You're part of the Steve Caron tree business when you're cutting limbs.
Yeah. So I guess I cut a lot.
Yeah, My Justin, another part of Calculated, he made a good point. He's kind of like us too. And if guys, you get in there, you're cutting these limbs, and you're like, man, do I cut too much? If I cut too little, I mean, what do I do? He says, man, I cut everything, but I camouflage my tree stand. And he cuts these little saplings, and he'll take them up in the tree with him and like ratchet strap them around the tree. And I've never seen anything like it, but he just puts that much effort and time into it to camouflage himself, because he's a big filmer too. And he says, I got to have the clear shots down the lanes, but I'm camouflaged in the tree. And it's a good little point of advice for people trying to do it. I've never tried it myself. It's something I might try around here this year, but I mean, that's his way, and go from there. I know some hunters. Go ahead.
After that, I have never tried using the sapling stuff, but I have thought about using like an old Christmas tree or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the leaves wouldn't fall off and stuff. So that's probably something that I'm gonna try in the future. Because you usually just throw them away or whatever once you get a new one or something. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an evergreen tree too. There's a lot of times they don't turn brown for a while, and get up there. It's a really good idea. That's something I'm gonna throw into it. Mm-hmm. Some hunters are. Steve, are you more of a climber guy? You lock on. I know you film everything, so probably more lock-ons, right?
Yeah. I mean, some places I'll hunt out with blind too, but the climber and trying to film and stuff like that, that's just too much stuff to carry.
I'm with you. It is a pain in the butt. I did it 3 or 4 times last year. It was a nightmare. What height do you like to get in your tree stands? Are you a 20-foot guy, or are you a 30-foot guy, or where do you like to go?
I'm always above 20. I mean, as you know, hunting the terrain that we hunt, one side, you might be 30 foot off the ground, but behind you, it looks like you're 10 foot off the ground.
And it's the deer always come up from behind you, so that's just the way it works.
It kind of just depends on where the stand placement's at. I try to set my stands on like either a bench or something like that, but there's not a whole lot.
No.
Over here down in the south.
Down here in North Carolina, something that now this was my first year hunting Southern West Virginia. I did grow up in the Southwest Virginia mountains, so I kind of had a basis on it, but not, there were still some fields, so now I'm like, man, this huge woodlot, what do you do? And down here, we hunt the way to food sources. You find the food source, you go to there, and up there, is different, because there's not this huge 50, 60 acre soybean field that these deer are migrating to. So you got to be able to find these benches and saddles and points and stuff like that. Steve, and that kind of takes me into the mineral site side of it here. What do you look for in a mineral site? Josh and I have our little quirks, what we look for on topo maps and stuff. But, you walk into your lease, what do you look for to find a good mineral site?
Again, I'm still looking for, a bench, just, an area where the deer are naturally going to funnel through or walk through, because they walk the hillside a whole lot, but if there's a bench close or a flat or the end of a point, then deer usually cross right there, or they'll use that travel route, or even maybe like an old logging road.
Yeah.
Because there's always logging roads everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere in the Southern West Virginia mountains. The roads all through them.
So that's about all I look for.
Down there, they I've noticed this year, last year, Josh was like, man, I was like, man, it looks a good spot for a mineral site. But he's like, hey, keep walking, come up here. I've noticed that those real high canopy places, they seem to hit them better. I don't know why. Maybe it's escape routes, or it's a little cooler up there for them, or what. But they seem to hit those places better. I don't know if it's just coincidence or what. But Josh he's a map nut, man. So he's always on the maps and going from there. And that's just some things I've picked up from there. I guess the bear in the room is, how do you keep the dang bears off your mineral sites? Have you found something that they don't hit?
No.
Everybody.
No, don't put anything sweet or anything like that. Just like here the other day, I cut up a few apples, just try to get some smell out, and within 3 hours, got pictures of a bear on it. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. That's a lesson learned. But everybody I've spoke to from Southern West Virginia has said that the bear are a serious problem. They've multiplied so much that, And I saw Josh, a message he said the other day when we were all talking, is 10 years ago, it was like a rare sighting.
Yep.
Seeing a bear. And now it's just like, hey, there's another bear. But I hope the state takes note about what everybody's saying and maybe opens it up for more tags, opens up the spring season, and I think it would really,
nice.
And we'd all hunt it. We'd all be up there.
Yeah.
Hunting it, and taking some bears out and going from there. The summertime prep, guys, it's huge. It's something that I look at as it's either make it or break it. I calculated our slogan is earn your reputation, and you earn that reputation by putting the work in, putting the effort in, and going from there. And that's a big thing with us. When we recruited Steve, we saw he put the work in, and the proof's in the pudding. Look at his trophy wall. He killed a beautiful 150 some inch deer and a few other great deer on top of that. He does a good job with it. Steve, something I'm trying to get better about filming, and I know you're a nut about it. You love it. You love doing it. What kind of filming equipment are you using for people just starting to get into filming?
Well, my main camera is a Canon G30. It's simple to use, and the video quality on it is amazing. And I'll run a GoPro when I remember to turn it on when the time comes. And then I'll run a DSLR sometimes. It's real nice for B-roll stuff, and then you get awesome field photos when you kill one. But that's about all I'm running.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
Now, I guess you're carrying a big old pack to the woods full of camera gear.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's actually carry it's called a game plan. That's the brand.
Yeah. Josh and I have one of those. It's a huge pack, huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Because like I said, I'm carrying 3 cameras. If I'm in the stand, I got my camera arm, and then I got all my hunting gear. So, yeah, it gets pretty heavy walking them mountains with that.
Yeah, it does. Last year, I was hunting down here in North Carolina, and I didn't have any stands hung, so I had all my camera gear, a bow, and a climber on my back. And I had about a 500-yard walk. I was drenched. By the time I got there, I got climbed up a tree. It was miserable. And that's back to what he said. If you're filming, you're serious about it, you about have to either have a stand there or have a hang on or ladder or something to get up. It is miserable carrying that stuff, having to tote it, climb, and everything else on top of it there. Steve, what's some advice you give some people getting into filming? I know me, sometimes I missed 2 or 3 deer last year trying to get them on film and losing my shot angles and everything. It's frustrating. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to get in the woods with it. What can I do? What's some advice you give them to be successful at it?
My best advice is don't ditch it.
It's
very easy to ditch it when the time comes. To me, I guess if a 200 inch or something comes around through there and I can't get it on, I'm gonna ditch it. But my main priority when I'm hunting, and which I know a lot of guys ain't like me, but when that deer's coming, my thought is I got to get this on camera. So I just do my best. It's not always the best quality. I try to do my best because it's hard to do it solo. It's a lot better if you have a cameraman.
Yeah, hell yeah, it is. Carrying the load too.
Yeah, but
just don't give up.
That's my best advice. Is don't ditch it and just slow move. Don't make real fast movement because that's usually what the deer will pick up. Is if you try to move real fast.
So just slow movements and there. I know you told me, Steve, the something I need to get, and I was just hitting the button, but I needed the remote.
Yes, you need there's some of them's called different. Mine's called a Lance remote, and you can run your whole camera right off this little remote that's on your I don't know what you call it.
The arm. The arm, yeah.
Yeah, that you swivel with. Yeah, it's right there. It's all touch your fingers. You can zoom in, zoom out, do your focus, turn your camera on, hit record, and that's like when I got one of them, it was a game changer in solo filming.
Yeah. Just making it easier on you there.
Way easier now.
Guys, the world's turned into a video world, and we've noticed that with the page that people will watch 10 times the amount of people that would like read a column that we wrote. If you put it like a 2 or 3 minute video, it's unreal how many people just watch that compared to people that'll read our blogs and stuff like that. So, we're kind of being forced into the video side of it. And that's why Steve's great. We got some additions who are just serious filmers. Steve, Chris Hensley, and Josh and I need to be better about it. Hopefully, and we will. We're not going to give up on it. We're going to be better, but I'm better at running my mouth and writing blogs than I am filming. Hopefully you can teach me a few things on that, Steve.
Yeah.
Something, guys, we're serious bow hunters. We love to bow hunt. Steve, and something I admire about you and something I really want to get into is the traditional archery equipment. And I know you love hunting with it. Let's kind of talk about you when your first love of bow hunting first started and how you got into traditional archery. And, I know you hunt with a compound too, but let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I guess I started out with the compound and started for many years. And I guess as I progressed in my hunting career, I wanted to try something a little bit harder. So me and my brother, we both bought recurves, practiced in the yard like all summer, and got pretty good with it. So we decided, well, let's try hunting with it. And of course, I didn't take it down in southern West Virginia where the big ones are at, but when I hunted around home, when I was wanting to doe hunt and stuff like that, I took it, and I've been pretty successful with it. I've killed, probably 4 or 5 does with it, and a couple small scrub bucks with it. But I haven't hunted a whole lot with it in the last 3 or 4 years because I've been mainly chasing the big deer down in southern. But
it's a dream of mine to take a a Pope and Young deer with a traditional archery equipment. Nathan Killen killed a freaking stud with one, and I just and I look at it as a bow hunting's primitive anyways, but it's something you can. I mean, it's a challenge. It's hard.
Yeah.
And today, not saying that compound bows aren't. Any animal you take with a bow and arrow is a complicated thing, but traditional equipment's different. It's not as fast. It's not as big. I mean, you're pulling back with your fingers. And does your recurve have a sight on it?
No.
So I mean, you're judging distances. So it really makes a challenge for anybody that wants to try it, and that's something I commend you on, and I kind of admire about it, and something I want to get into. There, speaking of southern West Virginia, it's a special place. Last year I was a little skeptical about coming up there. I was nervous about it. You got to deal with the people, you got to deal with the rough terrain, you got to deal with bears. Let's talk a little bit about it. Josh did a really cool study comparing the 4 bow-only counties to the Midwest, Ohio, Iowa. I mean, it's unreal the deer that it holds. Steve, do you agree with that? I mean, it's amazing some of the size deer that are there.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, the only, downfall is you may hunt a whole week and see 2 or 3 deer, but, I mean, out of them 3 deer, you're probably seeing 1 or 2 good shooters. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, the deer numbers ain't very high, but the quality of deer is very high.
Yeah, and it's last year I noticed that with my hunting. I didn't get a kill last year, but I saw a giant. It was early season. We went and hunted early season. I saw probably the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life on hoof. But and when I hunted up there this 5 days rut hunting, I never went a day without seeing a deer. But it was like you said, I might only see 3 deer, but 70, 80 yards out, there comes a 125, 30-inch deer rolling through the woods. I mean, down here in North Carolina, that's like finding a freaking unicorn. It's don't even get me started on the way that I feel that North Carolina wildlife has mismanaged our herd. But it's an amazing place. If you ever get the chance to hunt it, there's a lot of public land up there for people who are listening to this if they wanted to try it. I mean, the state record typical was killed on public land. So I mean, it's a great place to go, great place to hunt. Steve, how far do you live from Wyoming County? Are you in Wyoming County?
No, I'm actually in Raleigh County, but I can be in Wyoming County in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
They cross the border in 5 minutes, yeah.
I know a lot of those properties on the Wyoming border and a lot of things that they're having issues with are poaching. people bringing rifles over the line and shooting deer. Are you seeing that a lot in your area up in there?
Yeah, I actually hunted, because I'm typically not a rifle hunter. I mean, I don't knock them in. I will occasionally rifle hunt, but usually the first week of rifle season, I'm in Wyoming County bow hunting. And this past season, when I was there, the first day of rifle season, I heard, I'd say probably 15 shots, and I wasn't sitting right on the line. So for me to hear them shots, they had to be across the border.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It does happen.
Yeah, it happens more than we know. That's something I'm really strongly against. Poaching's tough, and I know people do it. I'm not an angel. I've done things that aren't great, not in the wildlife resource. Everybody makes mistakes. I get that. But, it's something that we try to prevent and go from there. Steve, what kind of bow you hunting with this year?
I've been hunting with a PSE DNA. I've had it for probably the last 3 seasons, and it's been pretty good to me, so it's been hard for me to let go of this one right now.
Yeah, that's one day I'll talk him into switching over to a Matthews, guys. Don't worry about that.
No, I don't think so.
And me and him talk junk to each other back and forth all the time about that right there. Steve, I know you're a big cell cam guy. I love them too. I'm damn addicted to them. My wife would kill me if she knew how much money I've dropped in cell cameras, but it's kind of a silent addiction of mine. Steve, let's talk a little bit about them. What do you think the pros are of them? I know there's not many cons in my book, but how are they helping you in your deer hunting efforts?
Well, it's been a game changer. I mean, you used to have to go and check. Well, to me, I can't wait very long.
Yeah.
Because I only live maybe 15 minutes from my lease that I usually hunt, and I'm constantly wanting to check my cameras. So when I switched over to some cell cameras, I mean, it's just amazing. I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I do. I get on there and check all my pictures. And actually, last year, that's how I was able to capitalize on the 12 that I killed. I was working, and I got a picture of the 12. He was chasing does in there. And I was like, oh, man. Of course, I'm
of course you're at work, right?
He's there.
That's the downfall of cell cameras. You're not going to work very much in November.
Yeah, okay. That's probably the only con that I have. When I'm working, I know what's there. But, yeah, I got a picture of that one. It was actually like on Thursday. And so I told, because I work for my family, we do clearing for the strip mines. So it's pretty easy for me to get a day off. So all I did was I told my dad, I said, I'm not working tomorrow. I know that 12 is in there. He's chasing does. So I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to take off tomorrow. And I took off, and about 8 o'clock, he come through behind a doe, and yeah, he actually come behind me and stood there maybe 8 yards from the back of my tree. But how I have that stand up, I got a big spruce behind me, and there was no shot, and I couldn't get it on film. So I had to sit there and watch him for about 20 minutes or so, make scrapes, chase that doe around a little bit, and finally he made a little turn and walked about 8 yards, and I was able to get really good footage of it and was able to make a good shot.
Yeah, that's I've noticed this year, and I'm going to have about 7 of them running for it's all said and done. The real only con with them is battery life. And you got to think about it. If you stuck your iPhone out in the woods for a month, how would the battery be? If it's sending pictures to you. So it's always a challenge to keep them going. What I've started doing is I just run externals. I buy, either a 12 amp or a 20 amp battery off of Amazon and hook them up that way. Most carriers have a cord that you can run, hook up to the camera that'll fit. But they are definitely a game changer. I mean, like Josh and I say, the most recent information immediately. It was like Steve. Every morning I wake up, before I even roll out of bed, I roll over and hit my little Go Wireless app and see what was on my cameras.
Yeah.
And that it lets you know when to be there. And for me, where I'm 3 hours away from Southern West Virginia, I'm not going to go there and waste my time. I want to be there when the deer are moving. I want to be there, and I don't want to stink the woods up just being there just to kill time. And I love hunting, but there is an end result with it. you know, and these things make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, they're
go in there too early and stuff, and you can end up busting the deer out. So
yeah,
it's awesome to know. I mean, the exact time when you should be there.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of times, you know, bait pile hunters, you know, again, at Calculated, we support any illegal way of hunting. If it's legal to bait in your area, you know, rock on. But, you know, I know a lot of people, and my son, when I try to take my son hunting, we bait pile hunt, you know, with a rifle down here. And, you know what's in your bait pile when you're walking in. You know, you're not spooking deer out of it. So there's a lot of benefits to this. And, you know, it's something, if you look at them, there's a lot of cost up front, but the overall advantage of it, the savings on gas, the savings on having to go up in the woods, the time savings with your family. And I know a lot of you guys, probably like me, your wife gives you hell about hunting too much, you know, and what do you what are you doing, you know, and that way you can checking your camera from home while you're at Walmart with your wife, and, you know, you're not making her mad, you're saving your November time. So, you know, think about that with spending that little bit of extra money getting them for you there. You know, Steve, I think that's a good. Add something. Something? Going to add anything in on that?
Well, yeah, I said that your wife will really appreciate it.
Yeah, they will. That's for sure. I think it's a good note to end on there. You know, Steve, I thank you for doing this with me. You know, I appreciate you being a part of the team. I think you're going to be a good member for us, and, you know, we're going to grow slowly, and hopefully one day that, you know, it will all be filming and getting some videos out for you guys, and, you know, some good kills from southern West Virginia. I'm gonna be hunting in Ohio a little bit this year, hopefully, if everything works out. And, you know, down here in North Carolina, I should have some good deer. Hopefully we can get Steve down here. You know, guys, this podcast is brought to you by Spartan Trail Cameras. We are very proud to be on staff for that company. They have the best customer service in the industry and the best product on the market right now. I'm really impressed with their cameras and customer service. I had an issue with one in southern West Virginia right now. Man, Steve knows my frustration with it. It's killing me. But, you know, Spartan took care of me. They sent me what I needed, and no questions asked. You know, I talked to the customer service department, and boom, it was here in a day and a half, ready to go. And guys, that's huge. You know, customer service, taking care of your customers, and that's what they do. You know, so if you're in the market for one, check them out at HCO Outdoors, or you know, Herd 360. Mike Kirkpatrick, he'll give you a great deal on one. Check them out. Tell them we sent you, and you know, I promise you, you won't be sorry you did. Steve, again, I appreciate you being on with us today. If you guys got questions for Steve, his hunting tactics, anything like that, you can get in touch with him through the Calculated page, or you can send him a private message on his Facebook page. He'd love to talk. He'll talk to you about anything he needs to. And Steve, again, I appreciate you being on with us.
No problem.
All right, see you guys. And again, this is the Whitetail Anonymous Podcast number 10. Check for this in about a week, and I'm going to get it out, and we're ready to go. Thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks for your support. We appreciate it more than you know.